Hey there, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. D here, and in this video we're going to continue on our Unit 3 party, talking about exponents and polynomials. In this video we're going to cover exponent properties, specifically multiplying them. Now there's a few properties we need to be aware of, so I'm just going to make up some examples over here. Anytime we have, let's say, x squared times x to the third, we're going to go ahead and add those exponents. So if you see the same base, in this case the base is x, being multiplied, you can add their exponents together. The reason for this, x squared is technically x times x to the third is technically 3x's being multiplied together. So why not just condense this whole thing and call it x to the fifth power? This often gets confused with a situation like this, where you have x squared to the third power. So now this base is not written two separate times like it was before. This is saying x squared to the third power. Well, that would be x to the sixth. The reason for that is this third power here means that we'd have x squared times another x squared times another x squared. So now this in blue kind of looks like this previous example. We could just add those exponents together, 2 plus 2 plus 2, to get that 6. The last property that we need to worry about deals with negative exponents. So if you have x to the negative fourth, that gets flipped to become 1 over x to the fourth. Similarly, if you have maybe a variable in the bottom, so I'm just making up things here. Let's say 3 over 5x to the negative second. Typically, we don't like seeing these negative exponents. So to change from a negative to a positive, you flip just that variable. Oops, I already goofed. And when it flips, it is no longer negative. It becomes positive. So essentially, by transferring through this little fraction line, the exponent will switch from negative to positive. All right. So let's see some examples here. Example 1, we want to multiply 3x squared y to the fifth times negative 4x to the third times y. Now some people see this and they get immediately intimidated. Luckily, we only need to worry about corresponding pieces. And what I mean by that is this 3 is a plain old number. That's only going to multiply to other plain old numbers. So I really only need to figure out what is 3 times negative 4. Well, that's not too hard. That's negative 12. We'll do the same thing with the x's. I've got x squared here, and I've got x to the third here. So if I think, what is x squared times x to the third? Well, we already did that as one of our examples. That's x to the fifth. We'll do the same thing with the y's. I've got y to the fifth, and I've got y to the, doesn't really give me an exponent, so I'm going to assume there's a 1. So that would be y to the sixth power. That is all we have to do there. That is it. Let's see another example here. We have negative 5, x to the negative fifth, y to the third, negative 7, x to the ninth, and y to the negative first. So just like before, I'm going to go through and kind of imagine, I'm color coding this, and I'm actually literally color coding this, but on pencil paper we probably wouldn't. So the numbers only affect the other numbers, the x's only interact with the other x's, the y's only interact with the other y's. So this allows me to kind of compartmentalize things. So let's take a look just first at the numbers. Negative 5 times negative 7, that would be a positive 35. X to the negative fifth, x to the ninth, x to the negative fifth, x to the ninth. Let's see, negative 5 plus 9 is 4, so that would be x to the fourth. And again, that came from negative 5 plus 9. Y to the third, y to the negative first, that would be y squared. Because 3 plus negative 1 gives me a 2. And we're done with that one. Next step. Number 3, we have 2x to the fourth, y to the fifth quantity cubed. So this third power is going to affect every exponent inside. And in case we forgot, anytime we have an exponent directly on the outside of parentheses here, That's going to multiply to the exponents within. So essentially, we are distributing this 3 only onto the exponents. So this 3 gets multiplied to the 5, it gets multiplied to the 4, and this 2 technically has an exponent of a 1, so that 3 gets multiplied to that exponent there. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to rewrite this just with our new exponents, okay? So we're going to have 2 to the power of 1 times 3. Then we're going to have x to the power of 4 times 3, and I realize a lot of you can do that in your head. Then we're going to have y to the power of 5 times 3. So this becomes 2 to the third power, which is really just 8. Right? 2 times 2 times 2 is just 8. Then we have x to the 12th. And then we have y to the 15th. And then we are done. Huzzah. Problem number 4. This one's going to be slightly more challenging, all right? And it's going to take a little bit of work. So here we have 3 separate binomials being multiplied together. So what we're going to have to do is some distribution. And a lot of people think there's some crazy elaborate distribution that needs to take place, and that's just simply not true, all right? Now, if we think of multiplication, I'm going to just make up an example here. If I gave you the numbers 2 times 5 times 4 and said multiply these in your head real fast without a calculator, chances are you would say, okay, well, I know 2 times 5 is 10, so if I do 10 times 4, I'd get 40. So what you're doing in your brain without really realizing it is you're focusing on just 2 items at a time, and you condense 2 items into one, and then you multiply that product into the third. That's the exact same thing we're going to be doing here. So let's go ahead and do this. I'm going to go ahead and distribute in the first 2 binomials here. So when we do this, we're doing everybody's favorite 4-letter F word. We're going to be essentially foiling or distributing. So when I do this, I'm going to get 3x times 2x, which is 6x squared. 3x times negative y is a negative 3xy. 2y times 2x is going to be 4xy. If you write yx, that's not wrong. It's just, we typically like to have variables alphabetically. And then 2y times a negative 1y is a negative 2y squared. So now if I combine those like terms in the middle, we'll get 6x squared. These guys combine into a 1xy minus 2y squared. Now using that, we're going to go ahead and distribute that into that third parenthesis piece. So again, we're going to do some distribution. Now we can't call this one FOIL anymore because it's more than just a binomial times a binomial. So what we're going to do is 6x squared times 4x, which is 24x to the third. 6x squared times 3y, which is 18x squared y. Now we'll take this 1xy and multiply that by 4x. That would be 4x squared, because I have 2 x's now, y. And then 1xy times 3y gives me 1 times 3 is 3. X, and then we have y times y is y squared. And now we'll do the same thing with this negative 2y squared. Negative 2y squared times 4x is a negative 8xy squared. And then negative 2y squared times a positive 3y would be a negative 6y to the third. So now here's what we're going to do is we're going to rewrite this thing in standard form. Standard form typically means we're going to start with the highest variable on x, and we'll kind of work that down. So the first term should be x cubed, second term should be x squared y, next term would be xy squared, and then last term y to the third. So the x exponents are going down, y exponents are going up. So let's look for some like terms. 24x cubed, that's the only x cubed. I've got a handful of x squared y's. That'd be 22x squared y. I've got 3 minus 8, that's negative 5xy squared. And then we have the negative 6y to the third at the very end. That would be our final answer. So again, not the prettiest thing in the world, but also not terribly challenging. It just takes a little extra time. All right, last and final example here. Here we're going to be distributing two trinomials. I'm just going to warn you guys right now, brace yourselves for a lot of paper to be used. If we think ahead, or previously, when we had this 3 terms times 2 terms, we wound up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 terms. Well, if I have 3 terms times 3 terms, chances are I'm going to wind up with 3 times 3 is 9. So I'm just going to have a lot of stuff going on. All right, so let's go through this. 2x squared times 4x squared would be 8. X squared times x squared is x to the 4th. 2x squared times negative 2x would be a negative 4 x to the 3rd, because remember that x technically has an exponent of 1. Then I've got 2x squared times a positive 1. That would be a positive 2x squared. Now we'll do the same thing with the negative xy. Negative xy times 4x squared is a negative 4 x to the 3rd y, because remember that x and the y both had exponents of 1. Negative xy times a negative 2x would be a positive 2 x squared y. Then negative xy times a 1 is just itself, negative xy. That's not too terrible. Now let's do the same thing with the 3y. So I've got 3y squared times 4x squared. So that would be a positive 12 x squared y squared. Remember, we like to have those variables alphabetical. 3y squared times negative 2x, that would be a negative 6 xy squared. And 3y squared times 1 is plus 3y squared. Gross. So now here's what we're going to do, is we are going to rewrite this in quote-unquote standard form. But what we want to do is have the highest exponent for x's come first. And that guy right there is going to be the 8x to the 4th. Then immediately after that, I'm going to look for anything with an x to the 3rd. So right here I've got negative 4x to the 3rd or negative 4x to the 3rd y. So these both have an x to the 3rd, but they're not perfectly like terms because this does not have a y, whereas this does. So that being said, I can't really combine those. They're going to have to each be their own separate entity. So now let's go on to our x squareds. I've got a straight up 2x squared here. I've got a 2x squared y. I've got a 2x squared y squared. Well, it looks like none of those are going to combine. So I'm just going to write those down. 2x squared, 2x squared y, 12 x squared y squared. And yes, the argument could be made that, this has a higher degree than this one, so they should be rearranged. Right now, we're just kind of focusing on combining like terms. Now I'm going to look for things that have a plain old x. So we've already used this guy, I've got a negative xy and a negative 6xy squared. So negative xy and negative 6xy squared. And now maybe a term that does not have an x at all, which would be that last term, the 3y squared. So turns out in this one, there are no like terms. Lovely. No like terms that could have been combined. All right, that is it. That is all for this video. In case you guys didn't get it before, here's just a quick rundown of those exponent properties. We'll be seeing those again in future topics and targets, so make sure that you have those written down somewhere. You know the drill. If you have any questions, please let me know. And as always, good luck, have fun, be safe, roll tide.